Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Mario Cristobal, the Miami Hurricanes, absolutely rolling on the recruiting trail. We're just turning into a Miami Hurricanes podcast at this point, breaking down a ton of commitments over the last couple of days. And Friday morning, Herbert Scroggins, three-star edge rusher from the state of Georgia, committing to Miami. This is a cat that we've talked a lot about over the last couple of weeks, but mostly in connection with this Auburn Tigers program. And Miami comes in late in the process and gets it done for an edge rusher that the film is an absolute blast to watch. This is a polished edge rusher that has a deep toolkit of pass rush moves. And that's rare when you're talking about edge rushers from the high school level. Most of the time, just kind of relying on being bigger, stronger, just more athletic than the opposing offensive linemen that are trying to pick him up. You look at Herbert Scroggins, you see a nasty dip, a nasty swim move. He can win with power in his hands. A lot of different ways that Herbert Scroggins can win as a pass rusher. Really like this get for the Hurricanes. And I'll say this, right before we went live talking about Herbert Scroggins, I saw another bat signal for the Miami Hurricanes. Quick side note, Miami Hurricanes message boards, you guys are absolutely awesome. Like, I get in there sometimes and you guys are rabid on the recruiting trail. I absolutely love it. Before we get into the film, just want to say thank you to you guys. The amount of support the Miami Hurricane fans consistently show on the recruiting trail, it truly does mean a lot. We talked about Chris Ewald yesterday night. I mean, there were, I think, 10% of you guys like the episode. A ton of support that you guys show. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Sounds like we're going to be on breaking down another commitment later today. Now, you get into Herbert Scroggins, there is a reason why there were a lot of SEC programs going after this kid. He's a guy that when you turn on the film, you're really intrigued in terms of how polished this kid is as a pass rusher. You see him win in just a variety of different ways. One, I mean, his flexibility and burst off the line of scrimmage when he's trying to attack outside shoulders of offensive linemen, it's really intriguing. I mean, he is a very twitched up athlete that can win with some of that speed, but then you work through the film and say, he's also winning with some power too. He's a guy that can just go right through the chest of offensive linemen and kind of collapse pockets, a disruptive force, a guy that can win with a lot of different moves coming off the edge. And you'll see him stand up. You'll see him work on the inside. There's some versatility in terms of how you can incorporate Herbert Scroggins into this Miami Hurricanes defense. And you're seeing Mario Cristobal just put such a huge emphasis on getting elite pass rushers on this Miami Hurricanes program. They've done it in the transfer portal. They've done it on the high school recruiting trail. And I get a lot of questions on why I'm buying so much stock with this Miami Hurricanes program heading into 2024. Yeah, Cam Ward certainly helps my confidence in this team, but I look at that pass rush that Mario Cristobal and this coaching staff have kind of developed over the last couple of years, whether in the transfer portal, whether on the high school recruiting trail, and say, that's one of the reasons that I'm buying stock. I think this pass rush unit heading into 2024 looks to be really dangerous, and you're seeing Mario Cristobal say, hey, we want a pass rush that's elite year after year after year. Herbert Scroggins certainly going to help with that. You get into the film, and again, it's a fun film study because you see so many different ways in terms of how he can win as an edge rusher. This first rep coming off the edge on the corner, that's really impressive, at least in my mind. I mean, you run that one back and say, how many guys who are 6'2", 235 pounds are dipping like this? I mean, the flexibility and then the run the corner, chase down the quarterback. He has some really good closing speed as well. Second rep, you're just going to see the power in his hands. I'm not sure whose idea it was to have this H-back try to pick up Herbert Scroggins' pass pro. Doesn't work out very well. Heavy hands. He's strong at the point of attack and can also get it done in the run game, which we're going to see on the film as well. A lot of different ways he can win. Again, power, just going right through tackles and then pursuing. This guy has a high motor, which is another thing that I really like from Herbert Scroggins. He's can go three-point stance, can go to kind of a stand-up edge rusher look. A lot of different ways you can get him involved, and you continue to work through the film. And look at how he uses his hands right off the line of scrimmage. This is a polished edge rusher that can win in a lot of different ways. And you talk about the motor, you talk about the closing the gap when you are in the backfield. Can you go and make plays? he certainly can do that too. I mean, look where he's lined up right now, kind of that nickel roll here, coming off the edge, using his hands brilliantly, running that arc, closing the distance with the quarterback. So many different ways that this kid can win as an edge rusher. He has an elite get off the line of scrimmage, as you see, blocking the field goal. I'm a really big fan of what Herbert Scroggins can bring. Again, look at the hand usage. I mean, not only are we getting off the line of scrimmage at a high level here, we're just going to go with a little swim move and we're going to run that arc. And then you see the closing speed. This is a guy that is an athlete in space, forcing the interception. I am a big fan of this get, chasing down from the backside. I love it. I really do like this pickup for Miami. And you take a look at, what Miami's doing in the 2025 class. It was a couple of days ago, we were talking about the Hurricanes being outside of the top 30. You fast forward to Friday morning, kind of kicking off the start of commitment season, Miami up to a top 20 class in the country. And again, it sounds like Miami might be landing another commitment later today. Whether that's a guy like Hilton Stubbs, we'll see. One of my favorite safeties in the 2025 cycle. And you kind of look at where Miami's going with the edge rusher room, right? Herbert Scroggins, the first commitment as an edge rusher. I'm going to point us to Epenesa. Obviously, this is a very high-profile recruit for the Miami Hurricane fans. I'm sure many of you guys are familiar with his game. Obviously, the brother of NFL player AJ Epenesa. This kid's a little bit different from Herbert Scroggins, which I don't think is a bad thing. You want pass rushers that can do a lot of different things and can kind of serve multiple roles. Epenesa is a guy, he's kind of a Mack truck. You saw Herbert Scroggins win with burst and get off the line of scrimmage. Epenesa is going to go right through offensive tackles. He's a hammer in the run game, has a very decorated shot put and discus background in the track and field, and you see that show up on the film. This kid's hands are devastating when he puts them on offensive linemen. I think this is probably their top target for that edge rusher position. We'll see kind of how that plays out for the Hurricanes, but again, it's no secret. The Mario Cristobal and the staff really starting to pick it up on the recruiting trail. We'll close it there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. Again, if y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.